Hey, it's Emily and welcome to another reading vlog. I'm starting this literally just after finishing the last one, but I'm just loving vlogging at the minute and I just have things to say since literally that I don't know, like 2 hours since I closed off the last one. I've had things that I wanted to say and was like, but I'm not vlogging, and I've closed off that vlog, so I decided to start another one just so I can chat. So if you didn't catch my last vlog or make it to the end, that's fine. It ends up being another long one. The two books I'm currently reading or starting is Oscar Wilde's Complete Poetry, which I am on page 17 of out of 170 odd. I'm really enjoying this, but it's obviously not like a really quick read because I'm trying to really absorb the poetry. I can't really skim it because otherwise I don't really get it. The Switch by Beth O'Leary I'm starting today as my audiobook pick, which is about an old lady. Well, it's a woman and her grandma, and they kind of switch lives and kind of start over, and I think they have their own romance story. I didn't realise they had their own romance until I was reading the blurb at the end of my last vlog. So apparently there's a bit more romance in it than I was expecting. So one thing I wanted to talk about was this 1984 audiobook that's coming out that's like an adaptation of it. So I was going through and the cast is so good. The audiobook is narrated by Andrew Garfield, Andrew Scott, Ramesh Ranganathan, Tom Hardy, Cynthia, I can't remember her surname off the top of my head, I literally had it just on my phone, but because I film on my phone I can't tell you. And then I just thought, you know what, I'll read a bit more about this audiobook. And the score is written by Matt Bellamy, and if you don't know, Matt Bellamy is the lead singer and kind of writer of Muse. He's a Muse, and if you don't know me, I'm a massive Muse fan. I've seen them twice this year, and so I'm now I need to get this audiobook, and I've already added it to my Audible library because it's included in your subscription, but it's not out till the 4th of April. But the downside of that is that I haven't actually read 1984 and I don't know the plot at all, so I'm like, do I read it before? Because I don't know if this is an actual audiobook narration or if it's just a dramatised adaptation. Either way, the story I guess is the same. But now I don't even have a physical copy of 1984, so is that justifying me buying a copy of 1984? If so, I'm pretty sure they have them in is it HMV? Because I didn't realise HMV have some books, and a lot of them are classics, but I'm pretty sure I've seen George Orwell's books in HMV, but I think they're 2 for £7, but they have cheap books, and I'm pretty sure there's a John Steinbeck book that's on this that I've seen in there, but I can never remember which John Steinbeck book it is on this thing because it's not Of Mice and Men, because I've read that. Basically, all I wanted to do was start a new reading vlog so I could talk to you about this 1984 audiobook, but I'm obsessed with it already and I don't even know the story. Well, I mean, I know the story, but I've never read it, so does this justify me buying a book? I don't know. Maybe if I read at least 10 books in April, I'll treat myself. Or who am I kidding? I know the second I go into town next, I am getting that book. Please tell me that this is okay. That I'm buying a whole book just so I can listen to the dramatised adaptation. Well, anyway, those are the two books I'm reading. When I finish work in about half an hour, I'm going to read, I think, a few poems. What I was saying earlier is that because I originally wanted to annotate this, I found that I don't actually want to annotate it while reading it. Before I picked it up, I was like, yeah, I'm going to annotate it. Really taking the poetry, but now I'm just going to highlight or underline the poems that are my favourites in here so I can come back to those specific ones. I am enjoying a lot of these poems, and I mentioned a few of my favourites so far in the end of my last vlog, but if I find any more that I really like, I will mention them. But yeah, and then I'm going to do some scrapbooking and colouring, I think, tonight while listening to the Switch, because I am hoping this is going to bring out the spring vibes. I don't know why, but I just saw the cover and thought of it and thought, yeah, that's going to channel spring. And I have the audiobook on BorrowBox for I think 12 more days, so I have 12 days technically to finish this, but oh, and there's 12 days left of the month. Huh, crazy. I'll stop there because I will ramble and I don't want this intro clip to be too long, but I've just started editing. I say just, on my lunch break I started editing the last vlog. That ended up being longer than I thought it would be, but I really am enjoying vlogging at the minute and just taking you along for the ride. But yeah, I'll leave you there. I'm going to carry on watching Em's video and catch up with you this evening maybe after I've finished work. Don't judge me. Cream soda with whipped cream on top. It's actually very nice. But time to get reading in the evening now, and I'll catch up with you in a bit. Welcome back to my car. So before work I have the dentist, and the dentist is down by my office. So I thought it was going to take an hour and 20 minutes to get here like it normally does. And it took about an hour. I'd planned ahead and I'm now here half an hour before my appointment, and the dentist isn't even open yet because it's like early morning. Just chilling in the car park. I thought I'd give a little reading update. So I literally haven't read anything, so I don't know why I thought I'd do this, but I'm enjoying it so far. I mean, it's not like I'm not hooked, but the audiobook is helping, I guess. Haven't read any more poetry, but I did go back and kind of underline the ones I really liked. So for example, I literally just drew a line under the ones that I liked in red because it matches the spine and the cover. I don't really know what to do. I guess I'm just going to sit and read, but I didn't think I'd be this early. I thought I'd get here like 10 minutes before my appointment, not half an hour. And because I'm like the first appointment in the morning, they're not even open yet. So I can't even sit in the waiting room with the Wi-Fi. I know, first world problems, eh? Unless I start working now, I'll catch up with you later. I don't know if I'll get any reading done at work today because there's a new girl in my team and we get along really well. And it's our first like office day and we're going to be in the boardroom all day doing like a whole team catch up. So yeah, catch up with you in a bit. Well, hello, welcome to the M25 where we are stationary. So I thought it's a really nice day tonight, a really nice day, that I could use some of the sunlight and go for a walk when I got back. However, now that I'm crawling on the M25, like I reckon I'm going at like 4 miles an hour right now, I don't know if I'll have enough sunlight to do the walk I want to do, because the walk I want to do is like through the country, through a nature reserve where there's like no light. I don't know, but I just want to listen to an audiobook and go for a walk, you know? That's what I used to do. Oh, we're peaking at 10 miles an hour for like 2 meters. Just thought I'd do a little update. I listened to a bit of The Switch yesterday in the evening. I don't know, that's about it really. I just wanted to talk while stuck in traffic. But I've got my playlist going, my summer playlist. It's such a nice day today, so nice and sunny. And now I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna have enough daylight to do this walk I want to do, because it's about a 40-minute walk. Last time I did it in like peak heat, and I did it on my lunch break from when I used to work in the area. And it took me approximately 40 minutes out of my hour lunch, like I had time to eat something and then do this walk on my lunch. So we'll see. But yeah, just thought I'd do a little update because I wanted some company in the traffic. We love roadworks, hey. Hopefully I'll be home soon. If not, I guess I'll just sit and read somewhere. Thanks for bearing with the loud traffic and the lorries tearing by. Catch up with you in a bit. According to my phone, I have half an hour till sunset. I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna go for it. Let's go for this walk. I used to sit here under the motorway on my old lunch breaks. I used to sit. It was raining. So I feel like I have a lot to update you on. Well, I say nothing important. It is now Friday night, or Friday evening, sorry. It's about, I want to say 7 maybe. So obviously it's been a while since I've sat down and actually updated you. Where to start? So I did finish The Switch yesterday. I haven't read any more Oscar Wilde poetry, I'm not gonna lie. But I am enjoying it. I did read some in The Dentist, but not anything since then. Read The Switch and I gave it 3.5. It took me so long to get into it. Must be like that far through before getting to this bit that I really enjoyed it. I'm not sure if I'm going to unhaul it yet. I did really like it towards the end. It just took me so long to get into it and I just wasn't that bothered. And I kept switching between which like storyline I preferred. Like for ages I didn't care about the granny's story in London when I did really like Lena's story in Yorkshire, and then at another point I didn't care about Lena and enjoyed the Eileen's story. I never was enjoying both until like the end. What else to update you on? I got a copy of The Divorcees. Let me grab it. My bed just collapsed underneath me. Great. The publishers kindly sent me a copy of The Divorcees by Rowan Beard, and I can't wait to read this. It sounds right up my alley. In the email, it was pitched as like for fans of Beautiful Ruins, and if you don't know, Beautiful Ruins is one of my favourite books ever. I won't go into too much detail because I ended up hauling some books today, so I think I'm going to do a haul video again at the end of the month, because despite still technically being on a book buying ban, I've hauled books. But thank you very much, Bonnier Books, for sending me a copy of this, and I can't wait to read it. It sounds literally right up my alley, but I'll talk more about it in my haul. Then last night I let my friend pick a book for me to read next. I gave him 2 options, and the one he ended up picking was Every Heart a Doorway. I am further in this in it than that at the minute because I've listened to it today, the audiobook, but this is a reread for me because I want to reread the first few that I have read and then continue on with the series. But yeah, I started this last night and I reckon I'm probably about halfway through now, so it's so short. I think the audiobook was only like 2 hours on ×2 speed anyway, or like 2 and a bit hours, so it shouldn't take long. I'll probably try and finish it tonight, and then I want to focus on the poetry because I am enjoying the Oscar Wilde poetry. It's just like a lot, and it's older English, and I'm trying to really understand it and absorb it, and I feel like poetry for me takes time. It's not like a book that's written in verse. Spoilers over here. I did haul some books today. So as you may have seen earlier, I had a friend over. I mean, he didn't bring it for me, but he got this like Boxu snack box. I get like as a subscription box every month, and it has like Japanese snacks in. And he said it arrived literally just before he left his house to come to see me, and so he brought it with us, and he's so kind. He literally said I could keep it here, but there's some really nice snacks in here. We both had a favourite. These are incredible, these crisps. They're like, I already read the description. It said it was like fish and meat flavoured, and I'm like, at first I was a bit like, okay, interesting, but they are amazing. My mother is ringing me. I cannot remember for the life of me what I was talking about. Onto the books. I'll go through them very quickly. So in my town, we went first to HMV. My friend Miles, he loves BTS, and he got some BTS thing. I don't know. And I picked up 2 books. I got Lolita and 1984. Was it this vlog where I was talking about 1984, the audiobook that's coming out with Matt Bellamy's music, Andrew Scott, Andrew Garfield, Ramesh Ranganathan. This was a 2 for £7 deal, so I picked it up. Lolita, I've had my eye on for a while after reading My Dark Vanessa, which I was going to say I really enjoyed. I thought it was a good book. Yep. The only thing about these ones though is that A, they're like shiny, and they're shorter than a normal book. It's like the mass market size. I think these both are on here. Then we went into the works and I picked up Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. I had to for £5. It's been on my radar a while, and I saw it in Waterstones for £10.99. I used to read loads of rugby romances on Wattpad, but they're more like rugby fanfics. And so for a proper like rugby romance, I was definitely intrigued when I first heard about this. Well, I saw it around for ages and I thought the covers were hideous, like the old covers. And I was like, oh, I don't want an 800-page romance, and I didn't know it was about rugby until very recently, and now here it is in my possession. So there we have it. Then we went to the next town over because I'm going to join my Waterstones book club, and the first meeting is on Wednesday. Not sure if I'll read the book in time, but I reserved it in the library like at the start of the week. Nothing's happened. I keep checking it and it still just says pending, instead of, it's not even like in transit yet to my local library, but it says there's like 12 copies available in the next town over. So I was like, okay. So I literally just went into the library there with Miles and picked it up, and that is The Magic Toy Shop by Angela Carter. It's quite short, so I'm hoping I can read it before the book club on Wednesday, or at least get a fair way through. I can at least engage in some conversation. But when I was in the Waterstones earlier today, I literally just went in to ask about it, like where it is, the people that show up, how we decide. But I was just like asking about more information. I'll give it a go. And then next month is The Master and Margarita. So I just thought I'd pick this up at the same time, just because I have on my account, I think 6 weeks to read these instead of the normal like 3 weeks. But I want to try and use my library more, and if I use it even just once a month for my book club pick, then I'm happy to do that. So those are the two that I got from the library. And then finally, the last place I bought something was TK Maxx, and I found this box set, the Sherlock Holmes collection, or Holmes, and it's £12.99 for the 6 books, and they're all like really pretty, judging by what... I'll get them out. Let's get them out. I appreciate this isn't the best lighting to begin with. Oh, they are nice. So we have The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, A Study in Scarlet, and The Sign of Four. I've only read A Study in Scarlet. The Hound of the Baskervilles. I don't know if you can see that. The lighting is so bad, I'm sorry. The memoirs, of Sherlock Holmes. The Return of Sherlock Holmes. And The Valley of Fear and His Last Bow. But they're so pretty. I thought, how could I leave that behind for £12.99 for 6 books? And they all match. And I currently, I don't know if you can see, right at the top there, I have the BBC show editions of Study in Scarlet, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, Hound of the Baskervilles, and The Return of Sherlock Holmes. That's all up there. But I can't find the others in like the matching editions. So when I saw this, I just thought, how could I not? Why did I do this to myself? I guess including the library books. That's my little haul for today. There we go. But I'll do a full haul about them at the end of the month and include all the other books that I've hauled, because once again I've accidentally hauled way too many, and this has been quite a slow reading. Well, I've read 7 books this month, so which I'll take, but it hasn't felt like a really productive month reading wise. But it's only 22nd today. I still have, you know, like just under 10 days, 9 days left of the month. I can still do it, but that's a very long update. And yeah, I'm going to put on the I Could Murder a Podcast episode. I'm halfway through the island of the North Senate. Why can't I speak? The North Sentinel Island. I realised I pronounced it wrong that whole clip. North Sentinel Island, not Sentinel. Don't know what I was thinking, but it's North Sentinel Island. I knew that, which is really interesting. But when I cook dinner, well, actually, I've had dinner. But when I like do things around the house, I need to have a few things to sort out. I'm going to try and finish off Every Heart a Doorway and do some colouring probably, because I did that last night and I ended up colouring about 4 pages I finished with my colouring book. So, and I got the rugby tomorrow. Whoop, whoop. I'll definitely include clips of that if I can, but I'm very excited. Surrey's better win. If Quins beat them, I'll be having some words. I've now got some Japanese. Oh, and I found my favourite chocolates. My like best friend from uni, like when I was at uni, she's from Hong Kong, and she let me try some chocolates and some sweets, and I absolutely loved them. And so when her mum sent over like goodies for her mum put in like extras for me. And so my friend would give me some chocolates every time she got some. I haven't had them since she moved back to Hong Kong, and that was before COVID. It was the last time I had them. And today in HMV, they stock them. So I bought 2 boxes. This is just 1 box, but it's £2.50. They're these like strawberry chocolates. I don't know, I love them. The other ones I haven't found yet. They were like some grape flavoured jelly bean coated in chocolate. Anyway, and me and Miles today have demolished a box between us, mostly me. I'll leave you to it now. I'm going to put on my North Sentinel Island podcast. It's so interesting. I find things about that island so intriguing, and even like is it called the Primrose, the boat that the shipwrecked off the island. You can still, like, if you zoom in on Google Maps, like satellite, like Google Earth, you can still see the wreck of the boat, and it's just crazy. And like they're so close to civilization, but yeah, I'll leave you there. And I need to find out where to shelve these. Oh well, I'll catch up with you in a bit.
Know
Hey, it is Sunday morning. Is it morning? No, it's afternoon now. So yesterday, I don't think I talked about anything yesterday. So yesterday I went to the rugby. I say the rugby. If you don't know, I'm a Saracen supporter. And yesterday was like the showdown 4 actually, which used to be called Derby Day, like when I was younger in school. And it's Saracens, it's a Saracens home game, even though it's like never at the Saracens ground. It's a Saracens versus Quins game, which are like 2 London-based teams. My dad, technically, like if you asked him, he'd say he supports Harlequins. I'm obviously a Sarries fan. So yesterday was his birthday, and for his birthday I brought him tickets for Derby Day, or I always still call it Derby Day, the showdown. And we've been every year, apart from last year, which is when I was in Turkey with Chloe. But it's one of my favourite games every year. I think everyone we've been to, we've won, which is great. And yesterday was no different. Yesterday we gave them an absolute thrashing. Dad was like, I'm so glad I was impartial today because, you know, that was a bit embarrassing from Quins. 52-7 we won by. When I booked the tickets, I booked it like, I was going to say like in the Sarries stand. Basically in rugby, it's not like football, like home and away fans are just integrated. Like there's no away section or anything. But because it was a Sarries home match and it's one of their like big games, so yesterday it was at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, because typically rugby stadiums are a lot smaller. So for these big games, sometimes we go to, I say we, but sometimes the games are at like bigger football stadiums or like Twickenham. Because we were in the Sarries stand, we got a free flag. When we got to our seats, they'd like dotted every few seats, there were like flags, like Saracens flags, and I got one which is literally here. So I have millions of these now because I always pick them up as I go to matches. This is probably like flag 9 or 10 in my possession because they always give them away at like the big games. So, and I always go to like the Premiership final. Anyway, that's enough about rugby. In case you couldn't see, I have Becca's sprints on for this like Sunday afternoon. I've just edited and uploaded my entire TBR video, so that's ready to go up for tonight. And then because I bought these books, I think it's time to like shelve them. So I think I might try and rearrange them, put them on the shelves somehow. I want to put these with my like other classic books, I think that's on the shelf up here. Yeah, with like my Oscar Wilde, my Divine Comedy, Frankenstein. So I kind of want to put these 2 there. This will just go with my romance books, and I'll probably take the sticker off eventually. I need to decide what I do with my Sherlock ones, but I've just picked them up, like properly looked at the covers. I kind of want to read them now, but they're just so pretty. And they're so nice and floppy as well. Like, I'm so glad I bought them. I don't care if it was unnecessary. But I also realised after filming my entire TBR video that in my spreadsheet I have edition, like every edition listed as well in my library, where I technically now have like 2 editions of The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes that I haven't read. They're both marked as no in the spreadsheet, which means if I read The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, The Hound of the Baskervilles, which I have 3 copies of, that would then mark off like multiple books in my total. So instead of actually having 336 unread books, I probably have about 330 maybe, because there's a few unread books like Agatha Christie's that I own 2 copies of, and they're both marked as unread in my spreadsheet, so it calculates the total. If that makes sense. I hope I'm making sense, because in my head it does, and if you saw the spreadsheet you'd probably understand. While I do this and shelving them all, I'm going to start the audiobook of Magic Toy Shop. I can't remember if I've told you about it. I think I have. Yeah, I did. I must have after Friday, after I picked this up from the library. Basically, I decided to join my Waterstones book club. The meeting is on Wednesday, and this is the book. So I picked it up from the library just in case I don't like it, because I hadn't heard anything about it. But I just got the audiobook on Audible, so I think I'm going to put that on while shelve. And then I also might make a TBR jar. Like, I know everyone is doing that at the minute, but I have this cute jar left over from a dinner party I had, where I had like, you can kind of see like I had cocktails in these fancy bottles. I had like sweets in like these old jars to make it look old-fashioned, I guess, like fancy. So I could use this as like a TBR jar. So I think I might do that. I don't know if I'm not going to scrap my TBR game. Don't you worry. Like, my TBR game is my TBR game. But I thought I might just have this and maybe do like a vlog of like TBR jar picks, my reads for a week, or I don't know, maybe I'll just make one and then for 1 month every now and then, 3 times a year or something, use the TBR jar instead of my TBR game. Also, I didn't know whether to mark these in my spreadsheet as 1 or 2 books, because like there's 2 of them that have like The Valley of Fear and His Last Battle. No wonder they're so cheap. Can you hear that? That's like all the pages coming apart. Not coming apart, but like, can you see that they're like still kind of stuck together? Okay, well, explains why they're so cheap, but they're still stunning, so I'll let them off on this occasion. I've wasted enough time of this sprint so far, dilly-dallying, so let's shelve some books, create a TBR jar, and listen to some Magic Toy Shop. I completely forgot to tell you that I read an entire ebook on the train to and from the stadium yesterday. I read In Bloom, I mean it was only 35 pages, but I read In Bloom by Paul Tremblay, which is the 4th book I believe in the Creature Feature series. I gave it 3 stars, it's probably my least favourite so far, and I definitely would say it's more sci-fi than horror. It wasn't that scary at all, but it was interesting. There's a lot of scientific words in it that kind of like it slowed me down reading. A scientific word would come up that I didn't know how to pronounce, so I spent like 2 minutes on the train like, how do you pronounce that? Trying to read it. I had no idea what half it meant. None of the science stuff really stuck in my head, but overall it was fine. But I'm going to actually leave you now, and then if you're interested in hearing more about it, I guess stay tuned for my wrap up if you're interested in finding out more. But yeah, thought I'd actually tell you the book I read yesterday. So, in that last sprint, I only read about 12 pages of this. I thought I would have read more because I listened to a fair bit of the audiobook while I was sorting my shelves out. But yeah, I'm on like page 12. It's interesting. I'm glad I got it from the library because I'm not sure I would have kept it if I'd bought it. I also haven't cut them out yet, but I started writing some prompts down on this like rainbow paper, and I'm excited to maybe try a TBR jar out now because I've got all sorts of prompts that I just was coming up with, like matching the last song I listened to, you know, seasons, different genres, emoji generators. But I also put in ones that like I wanted to pick out, or not I want to pick out, but like books I want to get to specifically. So I literally just have a one prompt that's like Agatha Christie because I want to read them all. I have classic / top 100 books because if you see there, I have my say hi Becca, my top 100 books, and I haven't read many of them, but I've recently, like the 2 books I hauled, Lolita 1984, they're on there. A couple of my children's classics are on there. Sherlock Holmes is on there that I haven't read, like because a lot of them, right, they have a book by an author I've read another book, but okay, that didn't make sense. It has an author I've read from, but not necessarily the book I've read. So for example, I've read Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. However, there's a different John Steinbeck book on the sheet. It's of the Wraths of Grape. No, the Grapes of Wrath. The Wraths of Grape. Like the Sherlock ones, I've read A Study in Scarlet, but I haven't read The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. But the one there is Sherlock Holmes. But yeah, a couple other ones on here that's like that just to get me reading. Although I did realise I put classic on there twice, because as you'll see in a moment when I show you, I reorganised my shelf and now have more of my classics in one place. So I want to read them more. But when I was doing like the different genres, I was kind of pairing them up. So I have like mystery or thriller, romance or contemporary, fantasy, sci-fi, horror or spooky vibes is what I wrote. But then I wrote historical or classic, even though I'd already written classic / top 100 books. So classics might appear more frequently in the future. And that moves me on to my bookcase. So as you would have seen, I decided to put these that way. I'm not sure if I like it yet. They all kind of matched in height, but it saves space and there's room for more if there's more in the series. I don't know if there is going to be more. And then I took out my Ali Carter and the Good Girls Guide to Murder series because they're not like favourites, like I really do like them, but they're fine. Like I've literally just put them up the, oh, where's my arm going? That way. No, there. So I put them on the top of my shelf, so they're still here, but they're just together up the top. I love to make sure these don't fall over because they're not secured to the wall because of renting. But I just bumped along the romances, and then from here onwards, they're like classics. I put a couple of like Daphne du Maurier, Shirley Jackson, and then a couple of these modern classics that I have on my TBR. I just kind of took them off my TBR shelf and put them on here because I had the space to do that. And I moved Dracula there. I put both my editions of the Sherlock books, so they've come back down, and these new editions fit in here. But then I added some more. This was my horror section. If you saw my entire TBR video, you'll know that this was my horror section. However, I kind of combined it as horror and spooky vibes. So I have where I moved some of my classic horror up here, like Shirley Jackson, Dracula, Daphne du Maurier, The Birds. I kind of added more witchy vibes, so I added in Payback's a Witch, The X-Hex, these are on my TBR, and I also added in The Girl in Red because I believe that's a horror. Yeah, I'm going to cut up those prompts and then, my head's missing, continue listening to The Magic Toy Shop and tidy my room because that needs tidying now. It's a bit of a mess, there's a lot of stuff. But I really want to sit in the garden, don't know if you can see how nice it is out there. I kind of want to sit out there, but I don't know how warm it is. I feel like it's still quite cold. If it's warm enough, I might put the harness on the rabbit and let him run around. I don't walk him, I just put it on so it's easier to grab him if I needed to. With that, I'll catch up with you in a bit and I'll continue listening. Hey besties, so it's been a while since I've updated you. Oops, it's now Wednesday the 28th of March. So I had the last 2 days of annual leave. I literally cannot remember when I last updated you because I think it must have been at the weekend. It's been a few days. I think it's because I haven't wanted to read much and I hadn't read much over the last few days. I've had a busy time with work. I've now got some sort of coffee thing and only just today, so on my second full day off, I was like, yeah, I'm going to do loads of reading. All I have to do is take my dog to the groomers yesterday and take my car for its MOT today. That's pretty much my only plans apart from I end up going out for lunch today. So I thought, yeah, let's get loads of reading done. It took me Rhiannon sprints today, her last sprint, to finally finish The Magic Toy Shop, an audiobook that's only about 5 hours long. It went on and on. This was such a wild journey. I gave it 2 stars in the end. I did not care for it really that much. I only gave it 2 stars as opposed to 1 because I did find some bits engaging. And I was fairly fond of the writing style. I didn't think it was amazing, but I did quite like the writing, so I'm tempted to pick up more from Angela Carter. Maybe just this book wasn't for me, although I read a few reviews and a few do definitely agree with me that it was 2 stars. But it's either 2 stars or 5 stars. On GOODREADS. This is a modern classic. It follows this little girl Melanie. I don't know if I've even said much about it, but it follows this girl Melanie. She wears her mother's wedding dress in the middle of the night. She goes out into the garden wearing her mother's wedding dress. It gets a bit torn up and then she wakes up the next morning and her parents are dead, and she gets sent away with her younger brother and younger sister to live with an aunt and uncle and the aunt's brothers, so I guess her uncle. Basically it's her mum's brother, so Uncle Philip is her mum's brother, and his wife, and Uncle Philip's a bit of a dodgy bloke. And his wife's brothers also live there, Francie and Finn. They're from Ireland. Aunt Margaret, who's her uncle's wife, is mute and has been mute since the day she got married. I don't know what else to say. That's literally all that's included on the back. I haven't just given any spoilers. It took a wild direction towards the end. I didn't see bits coming, but then again, after reading a review, it said how there's a fairy tale that's kind of hinted at in here with the swan. I can't remember what the fairy tale is. It's Lena and the swan. And they said, well, if you knew this fairy tale, then you could kind of see where it was going, and I didn't know the fairy tale and I didn't pick up on that, so hence I didn't see where it was going. But other than that, there was one thing that I really didn't see coming at the end. It might be a spoiler, I'm not gonna lie, so if you don't want a spoiler, then like double tap. In 3, 2, 1. There was incest between the aunt and one of her brothers, which I was not expecting. But there we go, spoiler over. I didn't read this in time for the book club because the book club was yesterday, last night, and I didn't go to the book club because you know when you're like, if I hadn't read the book at all, I probably could have gone and got away with it, because I was like 2/3 of the way through at that point. I was like, I know the characters, I know the places, like if I find out the ending, like that's just gonna be ruined for me. Whereas if I hadn't read it at all, when I heard a spoiler, I might be more like intrigued to pick it up. If that makes sense. That made sense to me. But yeah, overall a 2-star read, but glad it's done. And that was book 10. Was it book 10 or book 11? I think it's book 10 for the month. I've decided to pick up Card on the Table next because I've been kind of craving an Agatha Christie. Like, I haven't read a proper Agatha Christie novel this month yet. I only read Sinister Spring, which is a short story collection. This is kind of the next one in the line, goes there. Next one in the series that I wanted to read. I don't know anything about it, but I do have this really nice edition of it too. So I got this in a charity shop, I think for £2.50, and it's a really nice old edition from like the Crime Club, sorry. But then I went into that like old bookshop in London that's near like Tottenham Court Road. No, on Charing Cross Road. Anyway, I basically saw this in like an antique bookstore in London, and it was like 50-60 quid, this edition, and I was like, I got it for £2.50. And one of the other reasons why I decided to pick this next is because on my spreadsheet, if I tick this off, because I have 2 editions of it and it's unread, it will mark my TBR down by 2. That's just the way that my spreadsheet works, and it's going to be satisfying for me when I finish this, and I hope I can finish it in the next 2 days. I don't have any plans tomorrow anymore. I was going to go book shopping in London, but that's not happening anymore. So I'm just going out for drinks in the evening. This is another short one. It's less than 6 hours long. The audiobook with Hugh Fraser. So I'm going to start this now. I've got this, I've literally just popped up my recommended and I'm already obsessed with it. A mixtape of old Disney music. And it's literally just instrumental music from like old Disney movies. That's my plan for the evening. And I went to McDonald's earlier for lunch. And I decided I would just buy extra food while I was there. So I have some McDonald's like chicken nuggets left over that I'll have with my dinner because I'm feeling lazy tonight and it's payday. So I think I'll leave you there because I think I've rambled for quite a bit. I might wrap this vlog up tomorrow because it's gone on a lot longer than I thought it would. It's like been like a 2-week vlog at this point. I'll catch up with you hopefully once I've read a bit more. I say a bit more, just started Cards on the Table.
You never said you felt that way. Guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile until I look away. But I've known you too long, it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade to grey as you fade away, as you fade away.
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything.
So, good morning. It's now about 8:30 the following morning on Friday, so Good Friday. In a strange turn of events, I ended up staying up last night. I say staying up, but I ended up reading well, okay. What I'm saying is I got to page like 203 of Cards Against the Table last night. I was just like addicted to it. It was one of those evenings where time felt like it was going really slowly, but I was flying through this book. Like I'd read like 10 pages and I think like 10 minutes had gone by, but I must have been like flying through it because it would be like 5 minutes. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one actually. I didn't guess it. Oh, and then this morning like I woke up at 7 weirdly, and just sat in bed and finished it off. So I read the last, I don't know, 50-ish pages this morning, and yeah, I did actually really enjoy this one. I didn't get it right, so I guess that's a win for Miss Aggie C. And I'm glad that I can tick this off now, and hopefully it will take my TBR down by 2. This is like a closed group murder mystery. It's kind of like there's 4 suspects and it has to be one of them, and you're kind of going back and forth between all of them. Mr. Shaitana, he's murdered, he's stabbed while his guests are playing bridge. And it's one of these 4 guests playing bridge. Poirot and Superintendent Battle are also present at that night. but they're not in the room. It kind of led you towards the end, it led you to believe it was this person, like one of the guests, and I was like, yeah, this is who I called it was going to be. Like, I've nailed it, I got it right. And then right like 2 pages towards the end they were like, tricked you, actually it was someone else. So I did get it wrong. I was so convinced it was one of these people, and yeah, I got it wrong. I did annotate, well I didn't annotate it so much, I tabbed up a few things. I tried to make it match the cover, but I didn't end up tabbing much. But yeah, I can pop this back on my Agatha Christie shelf right there and update my spreadsheets. And now time to decide what to read next. So reading plans the rest of the day. I'll probably wrap this up this afternoon because I'm going out and seeing friends this afternoon. I'm kind of meeting old colleagues, having a little reunion, and that will be probably from about 3:30, 4ish onwards. But I'm in the reading mood, and so I had a look, and I think I'm going to pick up Call of the Wild first. I had no idea what this was about until I've literally just read the back, but the audiobook is only 3 hours long and it's included on your Audible membership, so I don't have to use a credit on it. And yeah, this will tick off one of my children's classics that I have to read still. I believe it's about a dog that is living a great life, chilling in the sun, doesn't have to do anything, and then he's kidnapped and forced to be a sledge dog, was it? Buck must fight for his survival. Can he rise above his enemies and become the master of his realm once again? So I believe this could be from the point of view of the dog. I don't really know, but I'm intrigued by it. I had no idea that was what it was about. I just picked it up because the audiobook was included on Audible, and now I've just read the back, but I think the cover's really pretty. I wish it wasn't like shiny. That's that one. And then if I do finish that before seeing friends, I'm going to start The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, one of my new nice additions. But this should also be another one that takes my TBR down by 2. I wanted to get this on my April TBR when I played my TBR jar, but I didn't actually manage to get it in. Plus, once again, the entire Sherlock series, but read by Stephen Fry, is included on your Audible membership, so that's what I'm going to do. So I think these are my 2 books that the next 2 books that I'm gonna read anyway. So I guess I'm in a very classic-y mood. Seems as though like these are the last 4 books, or the last 2 and the next 2. They're all kind of about 100 years old. That's from the 60s, that's from the 30s. Oh, this is 1902. And obviously this is from like 1890s, so they're all not too long, so hopefully it will still be a productive reading weekend. I don't have any plans tomorrow morning before I go home to my parents, so I could also get some reading in then too. I'll wrap that up there and I'll update you later if I read any more of Call of the Wild, or start it even.
Same way, gotta build up of my thoughts sitting in an ashtray. I'm sorry that I'm so inconvenient, okay, just let me be.
So Chloe is doing 12-hour sprints today, so I'm going to try and get some reading done, like I already said, but I have just finished The Call of the Wild. I don't know what I was expecting, just not this. I don't know how I feel about it. I was thinking like 2.5, maybe 3 stars. It was okay. I was not expecting there to be so much like animal cruelty, abuse even. Like at points, they like beat the dogs when they're struggling, like really beat them. And it was a bit uncomfortable to read. I kept going, got better in the sense of like he wasn't around those people anymore, but it was still like I was not expecting it, and it would have been nice to know that they were gonna like beat the dogs going into this. I won't say any more about the plot because I don't want to spoil anything, but if that is something that you don't like in books, then maybe stick away from this. It was a cool ending, I have to say. It was a cool ending, but like I don't know how I feel about the rest of it. I have just googled what Buck, the dog in this, is half St Bernard, half Scotch Shepherd, and so I've just googled what the dog would look like, and it's quite a cute dog. I'm glad I read it, but I probably won't ever read this again. And yeah, I was just not expecting so much like violence towards the dogs. I'll leave it at that. I don't know if I am feeling The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Like I want that, but I think the fact that I have just read like 3 old-timey books, I think I need something like lighter before jumping into The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, but we'll see. I don't know what I want to read, but I want something quick, something light, but we'll see. I am going to do some baking in a bit. I'm going to make some Easter gingerbread, I hope, if I have any eggs that are in date. But first, for the rest of this sprint, there's 5 minutes left. I'm going to update Goodreads and my journal and my spreadsheets for Call of the Wild.
Me and I'll stay out of your way. I can see the way you look at me, I'm such a disgrace.
So I never actually wrapped this up, but I just wanted to say thank you very much for watching. Please give it a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you're new around here, because I really do appreciate each and every one of you, and I'll see you soon in a brand new video. Bye.
Maybe we could be okay, okay, okay. Maybe you could be the change.